So today we're talking about God's call on our life. And what does that mean? Maybe it means that we become a pastor or missionary. Well, there's a really great story in the Bible that we can look at about a guy named Moses. We find this in Exodus chapter 3. Now, what's really cool about Moses is that God really saw someone special. He saved his life when he was born, and then he let Moses live in Pharaoh's palace. That's like a castle. Can you imagine that? But then something happened to Moses. He made a really big mistake and he had to run away. And that wasn't so great. He spent 40 years in the desert.
40 years.
Man, can you imagine that time away? But God still had a plan for his life. He still had a calling. And this is where we find him, because this is when God starts calling. We read in Exodus chapter 3. It starts with, "Now Moses was tending the flock. He was with sheep. He was hanging out in the desert with sheep, and all of a sudden he sees a bush. But not only is it a bush, it's a burning bush. But not only is it a burning bush, but it's not a burning bush. Wait, there's a bush? Yeah, and it's on fire. Is it burning? No, it's not burning. So the bush is on fire, but it's not burning. Right, it's on fire, but it's not burning. So there's a burning bush, it's on fire, but it's not burning. I think you got this. Anyway, you get the point. This was weird, but it didn't end there. See, Moses was looking at this burning bush, and then we hear God speak to him. When the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called him from within the bush. Moses.
Moses. Moses. Moses.
Yeah, God has Moses' attention. He tells him to take off his shoes because it's holy ground, and now God says, I have a call for you. And it's here that we read God's call. Go ahead and go to verse 10. It says this, "Now go," this is God talking to Moses, "I'm sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt." Whoa, what? Me? That's right. Moses heard God's call. But you know, sometimes when we hear God's call, we don't really believe that we are good enough. And that's what happened to Moses. Right away, we start hearing him say, "Well, suppose I go." And this was the beginning of a whole list of excuses.
What if they don't believe me? What if they don't like me? I'm not a very good talker.
Yeah, he listed all kinds of reasons. And God, well, he patiently listened for a while. But God never changed his mind. See, Moses had a calling. And finally, Moses said, "Sure, I'll go." Matter of fact, we read all the way in verse 18 these wonderful words in chapter 4. "Then Moses went." You see, Moses had a calling, and he doubted himself, but he finally went. And you know the story. He went to Pharaoh, he went to Egypt, there was 10 plagues he was fought against, but God won through Moses. And Moses did see the deliverance of God's people out of Egypt and on to the promised land. Because Moses heard God's call, and even though he doubted, he still followed the call. Today, we're learning about God's calling in our life, and God may be calling you to be a pastor, maybe a missionary. You may even look at yourself and go, "Wow, God can't call me." Yes, he can. And when he does, I want you to know that God is with you and to follow that call wherever he may send you.